For many decades, Spain had been one of the biggest underachievers in international football. Their World Cup record had been abysmal, with their best finish a fourth-place spot in the final group stage in 1950. But in 2010, a star-studded Spain team travelled to South Africa under the management of Vincente Del Bosque, hoping to finally break their biggest curse. This is a story of how Spain won the World Cup. In 2008, under the management of Luis Aragonés, Spain ended a 44-year trophy drought by defeating Germany in the final of the European Championships. Soon after, Vincente Del Bosque, a man who had won 2 La Ligas and 2 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid in the early 2000s, took charge as manager. Spain had a golden generation on their hands. The likes of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Puyol, Piqué and Pedro were stars in the legendary treble-winning Barcelona side of 2009, and he also had stars such as Real Madrid players Xabi Alonso, Iker Casillas and Sergio Ramos, as well as Barcelona's new signing David Villa, Arsenal's Cesc Fabregas and Liverpool's Fernando Torres. Spain had developed a style known as tiki-taka, an aesthetically pleasing style of play, based around short, quick passes from one end of the pitch to the other, as the team looked to patiently pass the ball into the net, rather than just lump it upfield. The style had worked wonders for Barcelona in 2009, and Del Bosque felt he could have success with it on the world stage. In South Africa, Spain was seen by many as the favourites, having qualified for the tournament with an 100% win record in their qualifying games. They were expected to announce themselves in the opening game against Switzerland, but things did not go to plan. A Gelson Fernandes goal sealed a shock 1-0 win for the Swiss, and all of a sudden it seemed as though Spain's dreams may have died before they had even begun. Their next game against Honduras was vital. Fortunately, normal service was resumed, with a brace from David Villa securing a 2-0 victory. Next up were Chile. David Villa opened the scoring in style, as Claudio Bravo came far out to retrieve the ball, and Villa from range placed the ball into the net. Andres Iniesta doubled Spain's advantage in the 37th minute, and whilst Chile got one back just after the break, Spain held on to seal a spot in the knockout stages. Up next were Portugal, and David Villa once again was the man of the moment, netting in the 63rd minute to secure victory for Spain. In the quarter-finals, they faced Paraguay in a dramatic encounter. Paraguay were awarded a penalty and had the chance to put a major shock on the cards. Oscar Cardozo stepped up, but Iker Casillas saved. Soon, Spain ran up the other end, and when David Villa was tripped in the box, Spain were awarded a penalty of their own only moments after saving one. Xabi Alonso stepped up and scored, or so he thought. The referee ordered him to take it again, as Spain players had entered the box just before he had kicked it. Alonso stepped up again, and it was saved by Justo Villar. And even though he brought down David Villa as the striker attempted a rebound, the referee did not give another penalty. The deadlock remained. Spain broke into the box in the 83rd minute, and a Pedro shot bounced off the post. David Villa latched onto the rebound and curled it into the net. He had been on hand once again to get the goal Spain needed, and it was enough. Spain would be playing in their first World Cup semi-final. They were up against Germany. The side Spain had defeated 2 years before in the final of the Euros were another team amongst the favourites, and so it would be a case of who blinked first. Spain dominated possession throughout, whilst Germany parked the bus to frustrate the Spaniards. Spain missed a number of chances as the game continued to drag on. In the 73rd minute, Xavi swung a corner into the box, and Carlos Puyol leapt high into the air. The ball flew into the top corner, and Spain were in front. Spain withstood the German pressure until the end. Full time was blown, and Spain, for the first ever time, were going to a World Cup final. It was a chance to extinguish decades of failure on the biggest stage of all. For the first time since 1978, the World Cup final would be contested between 2 teams that had never won the trophy before, as Spain faced the Netherlands. The 2 teams would face off at the Soccer City Stadium in Johannesburg. To say the Netherlands got physical would be an understatement. They picked up a number of bookings, and Nigel de Jong miraculously avoided a red card despite karate kicking Xabi Alonso in the chest. The Dutch nearly scored by accident when handing the ball back to Iker Casillas, and the 2 sides would go into the break level at 0-0. The Dutch had already received 3 yellow cards and Spain 2 of their own. In the 61st minute, Arjen Robben had a golden opportunity when he was played through one-on-one with Iker Casillas. Robben looked to curl it into a corner, but Casillas' outstretched foot got the touch it needed to send the ball just wide. Robben looked on in disbelief as he had squandered a golden chance. Only minutes later, Johnny Heitinga made a vital block to deny David Villa what looked a certain goal. Both Sergio Ramos and Arjen Robben had great chances, but the breakthrough could still not be found. The game would head to extra time. Spain had a penalty appeal turned down, as Cesc Fabregas had a one-on-one shot saved by Stekelenburg. Spain were creating chances and were now on top, but just could not break through. In the second period, Johnny Heitinga was given his marching orders after bringing Andres Iniesta down, who otherwise would have been through on goal. The Dutch were furious when their free kick that was deflected wide was given as a goal kick. Spain then marched upfield. Jesus Navas weaved his way into the Dutch half, and the ball soon found its way to Fernando Torres on the left-hand side. He floated the ball into the box, but it was deflected away by the Dutch. Cesc Fabregas picked it up, and he weighed a perfect pass into the box for Andres Iniesta. The midfielder took one touch, let the ball bounce, before blasting it beyond Stekelenburg and into the net. Spain had finally broke through. Iniesta sprinted down the pitch in delight, whilst taking off his shirt to unveil a tribute to Espanyol player Dani Jarque, who had died the previous year. He was mobbed by delirious teammates as it looked like Spain would finally be kings of the world. And this would indeed be the case. Iniesta's goal was enough, as Spain were winners of the World Cup for the first time. The trophy was presented to Iker Casillas, and the goalkeeper joyfully lifted it in the air, the first ever Spanish captain to do so. At long last, Spain had won the World Cup, thanks to Vincente Del Bosque and a group of superstars who played the game beautifully. Spain's golden generation would get a third major trophy by retaining the European Championships in 2012, and whilst they would suffer the champions' curse by crashing out at the group stage in 2014, it did not take away their place in history. Many see Spain's 2010 side as the greatest international team of all time, and it is certainly a credible argument. They played the game beautifully, passing their way through teams neatly, and capped it all off with the trophy they deserved. There has perhaps never been a World Cup victor so full of superstars, and it may be a long time before we see a side as good as Vincente Del Bosque's Conquistadors.